Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Ella.
And I'm Daniel. Today, we're traveling back in time to explore one of the most famous trade networks in history, the Silk Road.
For more than 1,000 years, the Silk Road connected different civilizations, kingdoms, and cultures. It changed not only trade, but also science, religion, culture, and world history.
And here's something interesting. Despite its name, the Silk Road wasn't actually a single road.
That's right. It was a huge network of land and sea routes that connected China in the east with the Middle East and Europe in the west.
So why was it called the Silk Road?
Because Chinese silk was one of the most valuable and desired products in the ancient world. For hundreds of years, China was the only country that knew how to produce high-quality silk, and the process was kept a closely guarded secret.
In Europe, silk was considered a luxury.
Exactly. Kings, emperors, and wealthy nobles paid enormous amounts of money for silk clothing. Since silk was one of the most famous products traded along these routes, the entire network became known as the Silk Road.
But silk wasn't the only product that traveled along these routes, was it?
Not at all. Traders carried spices, tea, porcelain, paper, precious stones, gold, silver, perfumes, carpets, weapons, glass, and even animals such as horses and camels.
So almost every valuable product of the ancient world was traded there at some point.
Exactly. For many cities, trade along the Silk Road became the main source of wealth.
How long was the Silk Road?
If you combine all of its different routes, it stretched for more than 10,000 kilometers, or about 6,200 miles. It passed through regions that are now part of China, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Iran, Turkey, Syria, and many other countries before reaching Europe.
Did merchants travel the entire route?
Almost never. Most traders traveled only part of the journey. When they reached a major trading city, they sold their goods to another merchant who continued the trip.
So it was like a giant relay race.
Exactly.
It doesn't sound like an easy trip.
It definitely wasn't. Merchants crossed enormous deserts such as the Gobi Desert, climbed snowy mountain ranges, crossed dangerous rivers, and traveled through deep valleys.
And they also had to worry about bandits.
That's right. Bandits often attacked caravans carrying valuable goods. Travelers also faced a lack of water, sandstorms, disease, and extreme temperatures.
That's why merchants usually traveled in large camel caravans.
Exactly. Traveling together was much safer, and camels were the perfect animals for long journeys across the desert.
I imagine many cities became rich because of the Silk Road.
Absolutely. Cities such as Samarkand, Bukhara, and Kashgar became famous trading centers. Merchants from many different countries met there to exchange goods, learn new languages, and hear stories about distant lands.
It must have been amazing to walk through those markets.
Imagine hearing dozens of different languages while seeing products from all over the known world. Those cities were truly international long before airplanes or the internet existed.
The Silk Road carried much more than products, didn't it?
It certainly did. Along with merchants came ideas, inventions, religions, languages, and scientific knowledge.
Can you give an example of...
Paper, gunpowder, and the compass were invented in China and eventually spread westward. At the same time, artistic styles, scientific discoveries, and religious beliefs also traveled between different civilizations.
So the Silk Road became one of history's greatest highways for sharing knowledge.
Exactly. Many historians believe it helped shape the modern world.
We can't talk about the Silk Road without mentioning Marco Polo.
That's true. Marco Polo was an Italian merchant and explorer who traveled across Asia during the 13th century. He spent many years at the court of Kublai Khan, the ruler of the Mongol Empire.
When he returned to Europe, he wrote a book about his travels.
Yes. His book described enormous cities, magnificent palaces, advanced technology, and cultures that most Europeans had never seen before. Although some people doubted his stories, They inspired generations of explorers.
If it was so important, why did people stop using it?
Over time, European countries developed new sea routes. Ships could carry much larger amounts of cargo, transportation became cheaper, and in many cases, it was safer than traveling across deserts and mountains.
As a result, the Silk Road gradually became less important.
Exactly. But its influence on world history never disappeared.
You could say we still feel its influence today.
Absolutely. Many products, ideas, and inventions spread because of the Silk Road. It showed that trade could connect people from completely different cultures, even when they lived thousands of kilometers apart.
In a way, it was the ancient version of today's global economy.
I think that's a perfect comparison.
The Silk Road was much more than a trade route.
It was a bridge between civilizations, where people exchanged not only goods, but also ideas, knowledge, and inventions that changed the world.
Now, we'd like to ask you a question.
If you could join a merchant caravan on the Silk Road for one day, would you do it?
Let us know in the comments.
Thank you for listening to today's episode.
We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.